my channel. I'm Patrice, and today we are going to be using the Wecreate Lumos to engrave on some faux leather. Now, this is a 10-watt diode laser, and it also is a 3-watt infrared laser. So it's a dual laser. So you can cut your woods, you can cut and engrave on leather, and you can also engrave on some metal. All right, so we're going to get this done. This is going to be super quick. So let's get started. All right, y'all. So now we're inside of the Wecreate software, and we're going to get ready to import our design. We will be using the blue light laser, and that's for items like this, wood, acrylic. The red light is intended to be used mostly with metals. All right, so the material setting that I already have the material setting set to one of their preset leather settings, and I selected the leather PVC leather. 2 millimeters, and I feel like with this particular patch, these little leather patches from Amazon, these work really good. This setting works really good. All right, and so this is just going to be an engrave, but I'm going to go ahead and autofocus because I switched out the leather patch to a round leather patch. All right, so here's our patch. It looks like I can kind of shift it up a little bit to straighten it out. All right, let's go ahead and autofocus again. Anytime you open up the laser and you move your materials around, you need to autofocus every single time. What I like about this laser is that it has the camera, so we can get a clear picture of what it looks like underneath that laser head. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to start out by importing a PNG file. All right, so let's go to our documents. Let's go with this one. All right, to confirm. All right, and it's a little bit larger than what we needed, but that's fine because we're going to resize it. All right, so let's just place it on top of our patch. And I'm going to just bring this down just a little, just about right there. And we're engraving. Now remember, this is a PNG, so it already has here bitmap engraved. Okay, so we're just going to resize it. And that is looking pretty good. Maybe a little here, a little bit here, but that looks really good. All right, so that size is good. These are the default settings for this material. So we're engraving at 100% power, 1 pass, and the line density is 100. Now you can adjust this if you want to. You can switch it up a bit. And if you look here, they do have like the preview of what this will look like for this particular material. Okay, so if you want to increase it, decrease it, whatever, you would just go ahead and look and dial in these settings. Okay, so we would adjust the settings, we would increase it possibly. So right now we're working at a power of 100, so we're right here in this row. All right, guys, so now we're ready to send this to our laser, and I'm just going to go ahead and select start. So based on the estimate, it looks like we're going to have this completed in 39 seconds. Okay, in 39 seconds, that looks good. I'm just going to press send, and this is sending this to the machine right now. So we just need to go press start.
Alright guys, so this engraved really fast. This was a PNG file that I used for this engraving, and it got all of the details. It got all of the details. I really love how this one came out. Alright y'all, that looks so good. It even has the grunge look of the PNG. That turned out amazing. Alright guys, so we're going to use our HTV Ron Auto Hat Press to press this patch on, and I used a temperature of 325 degrees for 25 seconds, but definitely check the manufacturer's suggested times and temps because this was way too much for this patch. Now I did secure this patch on with some heat tape, and I placed a piece of parchment paper on top. I recommend it. Don't put butcher paper or anything else because that will stick to your patch. Alright, so now we're pressing this. Remember, the time and temp they suggested was 285 degrees for 20 seconds. Eventually, for my next hat, that's what I did. All right, so this got on there really good, but it did get a little dark. If you notice, when I pressed it, it got a little bit darker. So make sure you use the correct time and temp, but this is nice. It's on there nice and secure. And I don't know if that color from the hat bled through, but it's okay.
All right, so we're all done. Now, if you needed to engrave again, if you notice that it was not deep enough, you can do a reprocessing, but we're going to go ahead and select complete. And I already have the next patch inside, so we're just going to head up to the top. We can select refresh or autofocus. I'm going to go with autofocus. And while that's autofocusing, I'm going to head over to the left, and we're going to now import an SVG. Okay, we're going to import an SVG. So let me find our SVG, and it's just going to be a logo. These work really well with logos too. And it does look like I need to go ahead and adjust our patch, because the patch does not look like it's even. It's straight in there. So let's go ahead and adjust it. All right, guys, let's do another autofocus. And I actually repositioned the patch, so that way we should get it as straight as possible. Perfect. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is we want to go ahead and resize this. Now, with this being an SVG, as you see, all of the parts are separated. We can go ahead. I can, for the pink layer, I can actually maybe have that engraved a little bit differently. Like I can increase the speed of it, and then that may increase the darkness or decrease the darkness. So let's just see what we're going to get. All right. So let's select here. Let's pull up our preview. So right now it's set at a power of 100 and the speed is 305 for the entire design. Let's play around with that a little bit. Let's lower the speed to 158. That looks like that's going to give us a little bit darker engrave. So we're going to do that 158, and we're only going to do that for the text. Okay, we're only going to do that for the text. And then for the butterfly, we can leave it as is, or maybe we can even lighten it up a little bit more. Let's go with this at 158 also. So that's going to be darker. And then let's look at our butterfly. So right now it's at 305 speed, a speed of 305. We can maybe lessen it a bit. Let's bring it to 453, just so that we can see what that would look like. So we're going to do that, the speed at 453, and we're leaving the power at 100. Now we can change that power if we want to. If you notice, you can change the power, but I kind of want this gray. We can change it to 78, but we're going to leave it at 100, okay? And then I'm just going to select all of this. We're going to change this to 453. And you know what? Just so that we can see a difference, let's select the antennas and let's just put that at, we'll do the power at 78 and 453 and see how that goes. Let's do it to 600. Let's do 600. 78 and 600 for the antennas. And so the power is going to be 78 and the speed 600. And we'll see how that looks. So we have different settings all across the board. Let's go ahead and delete our top dad image. We don't need that any longer. And let's go ahead and make this a little bit smaller. I want to keep the proportions close. I may stretch it out a bit once we actually get it onto the patch, but we'll see once we do that. Yeah, I want to stretch it out just a little bit. So we'll put it here. And let's unlock the proportions so that way I can stretch it. Yes, just like this. All right, so that's looking good to me. And we're going to get ready to send this. We're keeping the settings the same because this is basically just a rectangular version of the oval patch that we did. All right, I like this. I love how it looks. All right, so we're ready to send this to our laser. And this one is going to take 2 minutes and 47 seconds. That's the estimated time. We can select send, and now we just need to head over to our laser and press start. Alright guys, it's all done. That did take under 3 minutes, and this is what we have. So I can definitely tell the difference of the different settings. Look how that looks. Alright guys, so that took about 2 minutes. That looks good. Alright y'all, so now we're going to clean our patch. I didn't clean this patch, so I'm going to see if I need to clean it a little bit. It did kind of discolor a bit, so I'm going to change the temperature to what they recommend, which is 285 degrees Fahrenheit, and pressing it for 20 seconds. But here is our patch. I have a mixture of water and some awesome cleaner, okay? And this will help me to remove. You don't want to soak it in any water. You just want to lightly brush over the engraved area just to get any soot that may be on off. That's all we're doing now. And as you see, with these patches, I find that it's not that much soot that's left behind, or at least not with these settings. See, not that much. I'm just gonna go ahead and clean it. It's not a really deep engrave, and that's what we have. Not too much soot. And we're going to get ready to press this onto, for this one, we're going to press this onto this little beanie, just like this. Alright guys, so the heat press is set at 285 degrees, and we're going to press this for 20 seconds. Alright, let me just grab my lint roller. Alright, we do want to lint roll it. And I'm going to give this a pre-press. Alright, didn't need that much. Alright, so now we're going to get our patch, and I need to make sure I place this correctly. So since I have it upside down here, I want to make sure that I turn it in the correct orientation. I'm not going to tape this down with any heat tape because I feel like it's going to be okay, but I am going to place a piece of parchment paper on top. Here's our parchment paper, and we're just going to press. Alright, that came up smoothly. And here is our beanie. I think that looks really good. And we're going to let it cool off. So now we have this piece of faux leather. This is laser safe. It does have adhesive on the back so that I can press it. And we're just going to simply place it in here like this. And for this one, we're going to cut it and engrave. All right, y'all. So we're done with those two patches. Let's make another one. So I'm just going to move this out of the way. We're going to autofocus. All right, guys. So now we're inside of the laser again, and we're going to use that same file, but we're going to cut it out. We're going to cut out a piece. So
Let's select all of the image. We're going to bring it over here. I'm going to make it a little bit larger so that we can see it. And we can actually make the image a little bit larger. And then I'm going to place an offset around it. Now, this patch or this piece of leather does have adhesive on the back that's activated with heat as well. So let's get ready to put an offset around this. All right, we're just going to head up to the top. And we have a 0.079 offset. That's going to be fine. You can reduce it if you want, increase it. I think right here is good. That point, close to 0.079, but that's going to be good. All right. And all we need to do now is select confirm. And we're looking good. So we're going to select that outer shell where we have the offset. And this is going to be a cut. So we're going to change this to cut. The next thing we're going to do is we can leave the settings basically the same if we want to, or we can change them up. But I think I'm going to leave all of the engraved settings to be exactly what we used before. All right, y'all. So I put a few on the screen. Let's see how they look, the clarity. And we're going to get ready and send this to our laser. So let's start. Let's see how long this is going to take. This is going to take 12 minutes and 22 seconds. So we're here for it. Let's see. Let's select send and let's head over to the laser.
Alright, y'all, so we're done. And I might have been able to tone down those cut settings. It cut beautifully. We have a little bit of charring on it, so I want to just go and try to see if we can get that cleaned off. But it looks like it engraved nicely. This is our smaller one. And this is the smallest one that we have. That one I think did okay. All right, y'all, so we're all done with engraving onto these leather patches and everything came out really good. The engraving was beautiful, quick. This machine is an engraving workhorse. Now cutting, I do feel like, you know, it lacks all the power for just a lot of cuts. And of course we have a smaller space, like a 4.5 inch by 4.5 inch space for engraving or cutting. Now you can get some of the add-ons like the rotary attachment, and also the they have an extender that you can also add to it, but that's an additional fee for those. All right, so but straight out of the box, these are some cute projects that you can do. And to be quite honest, this is super portable, so you can take this with you if you go to craft shows, or if you're having an event and you want to possibly customize some leather patches for some hats or beanies. You can totally get that done super quick and easy. All right, so there's a lot of good things with the machine that you can do as far as if you want to add this to your business or just to any event. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Head over to Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok and join the Craftable Things communities there as well. But that's it for today, y'all. Thank you all so very much for watching. Until next time.